Yo, what up, man? My name is Desmond, but not Tutu, and you are watching Watch or Skip, where the first 10 minutes of an episode from a podcast will determine if I'm watching the whole episode or I'm skipping to the next. So, for today, I'll be watching the Konvo Show. Penuel is interviewing Warras. So, let's get to it.
Which one do you use?
The Konvo Show. I wonder why they switched it from the Penuel Show to the Konvo
At the
Show.
moment, I was using F movie. That's about value.
Yeah, but
so now I'm using look movie to you. Look movie to you or something.
Warras the Shady Laka.
No, and you only have Kiji more for.
By the way, I love Warras, dog.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this is not my
son
first
also showed me one for
interview that I've watched that he has done with Penuel, the Black Band.
fucking he made me pay for it, dude. I paid like 89%.
The first episode,
Fucking app.
the first episode they did was
On the
nice.
TV,
Bro.
but it's got
Warras,
like
Warras is a
anime
good
from Tsubasa
guest to
till
have.
now, you know? What is it called now? Anyway.
Don't worry.
HD, like proper, you know? Because if movies was coming with that cam shit, you know? Yeah, this is the only branding I have, but it's a local brand. Nobody knows this. It's just some young.
No, I mean, I don't care about brands.
Clearly you don't. You're always wearing
Ostentatious.
the same outfits.
Ostentatious, yeah. Some lighty from the
Penuel
South
and
States
McG
again.
like acting
You know,
poor,
the
bro.
Southways.
I don't know why.
I took no South, like from fucking Personia, you know, the booties. He called me and sent, and then I said, "Yeah, give me one for my son." Then I took it for Eid.
Yeah, she's though.
Yeah, she's see. But you can feel, you know, like I was saying to these girls, because I want to make merch, and I was saying to them that, like, me now, if I have to make merch, the cost price of the merch will probably be like, for a shirt like this, like 400 rand, because I want the stuff that Balenciaga and them have, you know, like where there's no artificial, there's no polyesters and nylons, and that's the stuff that makes you sweat. And if you wear this and you sweat like you'd wear to a festival, you start smelling not because you smell. You'll take the shirt off and be like, you'll be fine. The shirt is fucked. It reacts badly with body odor.
Klapang. You guys must wash, take a bath.
Oh, we know.
There's a way. Before he starts dropping some other.
Before I drop some F-bombs and R bombs.
Nothing wrong with the F-bombs. Carry on with polyester?
Yes, I'm saying so. If one has to look at like what the t-shirts and stuff are comprised of, I feel like if you really wanted to do what it is you want to do, the cost just becomes obviously ridiculous. But fucking why not? Like if you can spend, if you've got the money and you say, you know what, I want that fucking Balenciaga level shit, I'm gonna buy that, and that's the stuff that I'm going to give away.
Are
You
the
know,
people
instead
gonna
of,
buy it,
well,
though?
not give away, but like
People
give
don't
away,
have
sell,
money
whatever
to-
the options may be. And in this boy, like the way that he explained it, he was like, look, I tried to go for the highest quality spec that I could.
Sure.
But then what do people do? They look at you and they say, his keeper's got Penuel. We are shiny Penuel. Why must I pay 850 for his keeper's got Penuel? But in actual fact, his keeper's got Penuel is worth 850. You know what I mean? You would have paid 2 grand if it was Balenciaga. I think that time when Rich Munisi released his pricing, remember, people were giving him
Oh, the
shit.
prices were
And he was like, fuck
crazy.
you guys. The stuff that I've put into my product is on the same level as that shit that you're paying 5k for. So why is it, or 20k for, and when I'm charging you 10, you are crying. You know what I mean?
Have you thought of doing a clothing line?
Me, myself, nah, dog.
Have you ever sold t-shirts?
Never sold t-shirts.
You know, it's one of the biggest struggles because I've been selling t-shirts since varsity and I've always had a wish of
Hey,
having a
Penuel
plan
has done every
good
type
quality
of
tees, and I've
business, every
always
single
struggled
type of
because
business
the
has
quality's
been
not
into
great.
it.
If they black, they turn brown.
Yeah, they
So
just
what you're
color
saying, they
it.
start smelling, even if you're not smelling.
Yes. I remember when Ricky made, remember the Sidlo Kotini Killers
Sure.
t-shirt?
Shout out to
right?
Ricky Rick.
If
May your
you were
soul rest
lucky
in
enough
peace,
to
my
have one
guy.
of those shirts, the people I think that got them then probably still have them now. Because he didn't skimp on the quality. Like he wanted
I think
to
I've got one of
import-
those.
Yes, that's Sidlo Kotini Killers one.
King
the
of
first one. You remember
Kotini.
it had the Death Row
Sidlo
Records logo
Kotini.
at the back. I see.
There's a
Not
top.
Layer Cotton Fest. Got a Layer Cotton Fest. That was just like a free, cheap one.
I think
to
we
give
got
away.
that. He sponsored our touch rugby team.
Right. Yeah, but then he had this Sidlo Kotini Killers one. It was like his
Hey, one thing
like
about
a
Ricky,
PR package
he used
that
to
you were
dress
sending
up proper,
out to
dog.
people to say, here's a t-shirt and your parcel, come to my event type of thing. Dog, that t-shirt was like superior
Everything
quality,
about Ricky was
and
superior.
that's where I first gotten onto that idea to say, actually, why not provide a t-shirt that even though you're giving it away for free, because it relates to your brand and who you are, you can't be giving away a skipper that will end up being a rag who cares mod.
Of course.
You understand what I'm saying? How full would people get your skipper and then balala ngayo ngathi skipper se ANC. Ufuna ukuthi umuntu that owns that shirt, when they wear it out. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, this is one of the dopest shirts I have.
That's if that's your brand.
That's if that's your brand, yeah. And that was a fucking dope shirt. It had the Death Row Records. Remember the guy sitting in the electric chair?
Sure.
Death Row Records.
Sure.
He had steel recording, the killers. Timeless shit.
I don't understand. I don't know if you know why Ricky Rick was so highly celebrated and respected. I know
because he was the GOAT, bro.
Investing in up and coming talent. He almost tried to feature on every kid that's like on
listen to the kids.
The way people speak about him, I don't know if you know.
Yeah, one thing about Ricky, he made sure that
I do. He was my friend. He was my very good friend.
the
But I don't know what do you mean.
are
You don't
taken
know if I know
seriously.
what is the question?
Why he was so highly respected in the industry? Because in my opinion, I could be wrong. I wouldn't
because
say
he
it's
was
the
the GOAT,
music.
bro. What do you mean?
Like
Yeah.
AKA, I think it was something else.
Yes.
It was also the music.
It would
You
be a
can't take
difficult
away
question
that,
for me
bro.
to answer because I would be biased in that
No,
he
we
was
need,
my
we need the
friend.
bias. We need the bias.
Yeah. So because
Sure.
it's like I know him personally on a level where I can attest to his character. You understand? Whereas someone mhlampe, who's looking for guidance or is influenced by what he's doing, when that person is then in his presence or in his company, the way that they receive him will be very different. And I can't say that I have on the record testimony of anybody who can say, you know what, when I was coming up, I met Ricky and then he did this for me. And for me now, I saw him as umuntu okanje. But for me now, as umngani wakhe, what I can attest to is his character. I mean, I'll obviously have to cite examples that were in the public. But I mean, do you remember when the Mabala Noise debacle happened?
The buying of awards.
Correct. And he went on stage. And the speech that he gave was very much like, not in so many words, but he was like, kind of like, fuck this shit. This thing doesn't
Ricky was the realest.
if it's been bought.
Shout out to Ricky,
And the
man.
insinuation that he made led to him parting ways with Mabala Noise very publicly. That car that, do you remember Mabala Noise was giving people cars and big checks and shit like that?
Yeah.
They took their car. You understand? Because now it's like, we're no longer friends now. Give back my car. Another person, especially in the industry
Where
that
is
he was
Mabala Noise
money
now?
comes first, status comes
Always.
first, how I look to everyone comes first. That was not Ricky. He didn't give a fuck. He was not trying to copy the next person. He did his thing, whether it was the music he made, the clothing he wanted to wear, or the people with whom he wanted to associate. He was unapologetic in that regard, where, like, from a character perspective, unassailable. As a man, as a dude, like if you were fortunate enough to speak to him, a lot of the stuff you and I have spoken about, that call it like things that started happening in the last year. That nigga was talking about this in 2016. He had this thing. Remember
He was
when
way
talked about the
ahead.
internet? He was saying
Ricky was
something like
always
on
ahead
radio,
of the game,
TV.
dog.
You know how artists
Way before it became
a thing. He was saying the internet is your friend. Go there. You understand what I'm saying? That's where you publish your stuff. We've discussed this before in terms of how podcasts and why this space is the future, as opposed to all of us fighting for the same 22 jobs at Metro FM, where people stay for 2 decades. You're not going to get them. Which means, Woodwena, you're going to put your dreams on hold of being a broadcaster, having a platform, having important conversations, because there isn't a broadcast platform that's willing to give you a job. Ricky was on the internet, go that way. He was a lot in the culture of Brahm. I think he was instrumental in the come up of that culture, from the Boys and Bucks days to, when Brahm was banging. I haven't been to Brahm.
One thing
for
about
long,
Brahm,
but
it
the last
carries
time
the
I was
culture,
there, the
bro.
people that were
Especially the hip hop
secretly the
culture.
hosts on the street. Like I'm talking about the people who want to be famous, who are doing something in entertainment, that you find just walking around there are the Koelas. The Koelas.
Shout out to the Koelas.
That culture is inspired in some way from the Ricky era.
Facts.
Because he was the one that was talking about things like yabo impahla,
Totally.
and how you combine the
Sidlikoti.
fashion elements that he would combine. And he got international attention for the looks that he curated and put together on himself. He wasn't like Pharrell is like a fashion icon and he's designing for Louis Vuitton, or he is the fashion guy for this and that show. Ricky was the fashion guy for Ricky, and he published the shit that he put together on his own personal page. And that shit, that school uniform Gucci thing that he was wearing, remember, that shit went like international, you know?
Not the thing with the thing that was covering his
The
head.
beefer, you understand that beekeeper thing? People, remember people were copying it. The chicas,
Yeah.
like stuff like that, dog.
That
in
challenge
my
was
opinion,
crazy,
That shit is
dog.
iconic. But as I say, it's also like I'm viewing it from a lens.
Okay, that was the first 10 minutes of the interview, and I must say I really enjoyed it, so I'll definitely continue to watch the whole episode. So it's a watch for me.